Okay, tonight we're going to talk about some wild mushrooms I picked today. And I want you to listen carefully. I am not giving you advice. I am not giving you information. I am just showing you what I know. This is called a dry Add Saddle. Pheasant back is another name. I've heard it called a turkey tail. Generally, you find them in the spring. But we just happened to come across the spot that was a little bit behind. Now you see the texture. Kind of have like scales on them. They come out, they look like that. See that? That's a little one. Now I scrubbed it, I cleaned it a little. And as you see, there's no gills underneath this mushroom. It's a polypore. So there's little pores in there, which are much more evident in this one I cut. See the pores? Kind of honeycomb. Very clean. Very close to being too old to chew. But as you see, the meat is nice and clean. And let me tell you something. Cooked up with a little bit of butter, some salt and pepper, and some onions. They are freaking amazing. Now this was one big mushroom, but it was shaped just like this, but it was big. It was probably 10 inches across. It was shaped just like this. And as you see, the marks become more defined as they get older. They're beautiful mushrooms. I nitpicked a little, tested, checked the flesh. Good flesh. Nice pores. And these mushrooms have a wonderful smell. They smell kind of like a cucumber or a watermelon rind. I do not know of any copycats out there, so you're pretty safe. If you find these mushrooms out in the woods with this coloring in this shape, and look at this closely, that's the underside, that's the bottom, and they come out of the wood. They usually have a little bit of a stem. I cut the stem off because you can't chew that. That is a dry Add Saddle, a very delicious mushroom, in my opinion. Now today we found something else that was a little different, and I know you're looking like jellyfish. No, they're not jellyfish. In reality, this is called an oyster mushroom, and there are very many varieties of this. Now this has gills, but as you know, there's a little stem right there, and you see the gills run all the way down the stem. It has a fresh, cleaned fish. Like when you bring your fish home from the lake, and they have that really crisp smell, that's the smell it kind of has, but we rinse these off. And there's another interesting fact about these. You see these gills? Look how they become forked. Look, they're forked. They go from one straight line into a fork. Generally, you're safe. We haven't found any copycats with forked gills, but there is one called angel wings that has just straight gills and is considered toxic overseas, like in Japan and stuff, but it's not considered toxic really here yet. You need to watch videos on that, because I'm not going to give you any information on that. And as you see, this kind of has like a little bit of gray color to it, slight gray, slight gray. Beautiful, beautiful pores showing on the stem. And we go up, and it's forked. It forks out. Some of them only fork out to 2, but some of them really fork out. See how that's forked out? Look at that. Here, there's a good view. There's the forks. At the end of a single gill, you get forks. Pretty nice. It should be a little more clear than that. And they come in different variations and shapes and sizes, but they are forked. Look, see the forks at the end of the gills? This is important. Remember the fork. And also remember the scalloped edge. They're scalloped. They kind of shape like scallops in a way, I guess, or oysters. See? See how they're scalloped around the edge? Once again, even the small ones are forked. Now, I found a little cluster today. I got a kick out of the cluster. Here's the cluster. There's a little cluster of stuff going on. And as you see, they are forked at the ends of the gills. Forked. See the fork? See how it spreads out? And they are also very moist. Go good with just butter is my understanding. And a little salt and pepper. These go good at butter, salt, and pepper. And onions. I like putting onions with them. The dryads. But those, they're going to be something special. And they're making my hands smell delicious. Alright, everyone. There's my explanation of mushrooms. Now remember, if you ever go out and pick mushrooms, don't just go by what I say. Don't go by just what I say. Do some research first. Don't go out and poison yourself. Generally, these are two very safe mushrooms. And the lookalikes in this are Snow White. And I have eaten the lookalike to this, and it hasn't done anything to me, but that's not the same for everyone. Some people can get sick on it. This one here itself, the oyster mushroom, I haven't heard any bad things about it at all. Nobody said anything bad. The dryads, never heard nothing bad about them. They're just beautiful, period. Generally, we find these when we're out morel picking, but we're finding them in the fall. We had a little bit weird weather, and the mushrooms are doing some crazy stuff this year. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Some fresh mushrooms picked today by Mama Cookie and I. And guess what we're having with our meat tomorrow? Have a good night, everyone.